going to see Snow White and the Huntsman about a week ago, and before I go any further with this video, I really did enjoy it. If you like retellings of fairy tales and princesses and the hunk of gorgeousness that is Chris Hemsworth, go and see it. But if you want to see it and don't want to know what happens, don't watch this video. Go to the cinema now and then come back and watch this video, because I'm about to give you loads and loads of spoilers. I really don't want the comments to be filled with OMG, I cannot believe you just ruined it for me. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to know what happens, press stop now. Okay, for the rest of you that are still here, I have 3 issues with the film. The madness issue. Snow White attracts people with her astounding natural beauty, which is all fine because she's a very attractive woman. Why wouldn't people fall for her? But all of the people in the film who spend a considerable amount of time with Snow White, like the dwarves for instance, who have injuries and diseases and coughs and colds or whatever, are all suddenly magically cured. And they say it's because Snow White is destined for greatness and that she's curing them all with her presence. I was led to believe in this film that Snow White is just human. She's not a witch or a fairy or a magical being who can cast spells and make things happen. She's just a human, a king's daughter who happens to be a hell of a lot prettier than anybody else in the land. I don't understand how being pretty makes you a fantastic healer. How do you cure people with your face? Badass princess issue. I had the understanding that the reason this film stood out from all the other retellings of fairy tales and princess stories is because they were going to make Snow White really badass. She was gonna fight instead of being a damsel in distress princess and have a hunky man come and save her. In all the trailers and the promotion pictures, she's wearing armour, she's got her hair tied back, she's riding horses, she's got a sword. She just looks downright ready to kill. False advertising. In the film, she's only in armour for about 10 minutes, only 5 of which is spent fighting, and in those 5 minutes she gets her ass kicked. Then when she's faced with the Queen has magical powers, so instantly she's got the upper hand. Snow White runs at her full speed, screaming, and just with a flick of the wrist, the Queen just does that, and Snow White goes flying across the room, hits the wall, and is obviously really, really hurt. But instead of learning her lesson, that just running at her like a lunatic, screaming, isn't gonna work, she just tries it again and again, 4 or 5 times, and the Queen's just doing that. She's just flying against the wall. It just got to a point where I thought the Queen was going to grab Snow White's wrists in a magical grasp and go, "Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Use your head, Snow." The snug issue. So there's a guy called William who Snow White used to hang out and chillax with as a kid. There's a big battle at the beginning of the film when Snow White and William are kids and the evil Queen's taking over, and they get separated, and Snow White's locked in the tower of this castle for 18 years, and William thinks she's dead and goes off to live in another kingdom. Now Snow White and William aren't reunited until about the last half hour of the film, and in the meantime, the rest of the film, Snow White's hanging with the Huntsman, and through close-up shots of their googly eyes and their very obviously choreographed body language, it's clear that Snow White and the Huntsman have got feelings. So Snow White, William and the Huntsman are all reunited, happy days and all that, and they're sleeping in the forest on the trek back to the castle to go and kill the Queen. Now the term "don't wander off" has never been so relevant, because Snow White wakes up and just sods off. She leaves William and the Huntsman asleep and just wanders off alone into the forest, and she bumps into William. Now this is another problem that I have, because she's just left William asleep. She walks off and bumps into William. Immediately I'd be suspicious, but not this Snow White. No, what she does is she snogs him. Now, her kissing another guy in any other movie would be like a plot twist. It would create a love triangle between Snow White, William and the Huntsman, and who's she gonna pick and all that. And that would be fine, apart from the fact that that kiss is never again mentioned in the whole movie. There's no love triangle. The William she kisses actually turns out to be the Queen, sort of morphed into William to trick her and give her a poisoned apple. But even so, Snow White still thought that was William, and she still kissed him, so that's no excuse. But no, it's never mentioned again. The real William and the Huntsman never find out about that kiss, so it just ended up being a free kiss that Snow White got without any consequences, and at the end of the movie there's coy smiles to suggest that her and the Huntsman are gonna get it on.